10 hours of work. Not saying that I can't do what he does.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But the guy's an artist, like, just truly was born with it, Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, how do I make those wages for us?
And I think that's the great way of thinking about it. Even like here, like we raise all the wages here. It's just paying people for their work.
Yeah.
For the longest time in this industry, we get away with like having people work crazy stages and stuff and not paying them. How are you going to have someone come in at 10 o'clock in the morning and they leave at 11 o'clock at night and you have them work for free?
Yeah.
That's like indentured servitude. Yeah. That's not cool.
And then the mentality was, that's the cool thing to do.
Yeah,
but
it's indoctrination.
Yeah.
Because they were told by the chefs before them, this is how you do it. Oh, this is cool. This is great. And it's like, not really. This is kind of toxic.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that our industry had to kind of explode and break and fall on itself.
Yep.
And you kind of weeded out all these bad characters and people who are toxic and nasty, and we're more open. And that stuff doesn't fly anymore, which is good. We needed to have a clean burn.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
if our industry is going to thrive, and we're going to put so much pressure on chefs and people now, like with James Beard, you have to be an activist, or you have to be this, or you have to be that. Then you need to get rid of the people who are not doing it and not doing that extra work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because they're just bad characters.
Yeah. Well, the James Beard business, I remember Bonjwing posted on his Facebook. He's like, they asked me to be part of this panel, and he's like, fuck them, I don't want to be part of that panel. Yeah. And I was like, my thing was like, if anyone can change that place, it's fucking him.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us are like, well, cancel that person, don't want. It's like, let's fucking talk to that guy and figure out why.
That's the problem is communication.
Yeah.
Communication is 99% of like all problems we have in life.
Exactly.
It's because we can't have tough conversations. Yeah, maybe James Beard is not perfect, but if we want to fix it, then we need a more diverse panel. We need people who have a vision of how do we turn this institution that's 50, 60 years old and make it better and actually serve chefs, serve our community, and do good and have more diversification, and it doesn't look like, a Norman Rockwell painting.
Yeah.
And it actually looks like something from the 21st century.
Fuck yes. I was thinking about what we would call it once we took over the James Beard, the Tame Beard Awards. I was like, hey, let's do it. But I also had thought that, like, these people make these lists, things like that. It's like, why can't we just have our own list? Why can't we make a rating program?
And I think it's cool because you see, like, Kwame just did in Virginia. He did
so dope,
reunion,
so dope.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. It was already happening before I found out about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
And I think it's just minorities and people kind of taking control of our culture.
Yes.
And saying, this is us.
Let's have our own festival.
Unabashedly, this is what we do. This is our food. This is our culture. This is our people. This doesn't really represent us what the main culture in society says.
Yeah.
This is actually who we are. So, like, tomorrow in D.C., we have a night market. It's called Red Eye Night Market. It's gathering tons of Asian chefs from different restaurants. We're basically doing a huge street market, and a lot of the funds are going to go to fighting AIPI funds, like helping out Asian communities. And just bringing awareness to a lot of craziness that's been going on. It's just one of those things, like, if we want change again, we have to take control of it, and we have to direct the narrative, We have to, because if not, you have someone else from a huge corporation like Meredith or one of these other giant corporations saying, oh, this is what Korean food, but that person's never been to Korea, or this is what Mexican or Puerto Rican or whatever food is, but again, you're working from an office, but you're not even hiring a Puerto Rican chef or Mexican chef or anyone who knows anything about the food.
Who wasn't born with it, who ate it.
So that's the importance of, like, grabbing control of the narrative and directing the narrative. And it's cool to see, there was another festival called Bellhaven Festival in Atlanta, or North Carolina recently, and it was the same thing. It was like Black Food and Wine Festival, and they gathered black chefs from around the country, and they cooked food that represents the culture. It is not just barbecue, the whole diaspora of what African American food can be. And I think that's cool, and that's the direction we need to be going, is taking control of our stories and our people and our food and showing people what it truthfully is.
Hell yes. I was thinking about what I would name my, like, what the award would be, stars, whatever.
Yeah.
It would be fucks.
Fucks.
How many fucks? That's 5 fucks. I give 5 fucks to that restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah.
And that's the thing, too. It's like, that's the reason we truthfully care about James Beard Award, because we have no other award system in this country to say, like, you're the top of your game. That's our Oscars. We don't have anything else. So that's why it's still relevant, because, like, for so many chefs and people, even for me when I was, like, growing up as a cook, that was the upper echelon of what you can achieve. Is like, to be a James Beard award-winning chef because we had nothing else to equate it. In DC, we have an award ceremony called the Rammies. It's a local community organization. That's what we have here, but we don't have anything on a national stage that says,
yes,
this restaurant in Bellhaven is awesome because of da-da-da-da-da. We only look at like, okay, Christina Tosi's great, and we're going to give her award for Best Pastry Chef of the Year for, you know, what she does. But what about all these other chefs in minute communities that don't get recognition but are killing it? Mm-hmm. There's so many chefs in this country that are killing it, but they're so overlooked because people are not willing to drive out and just check them out, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the Michelin Guide is all about, is getting motherfuckers to drive somewhere. You know what I mean? And we should have our own Michelin.
I agree.
You know?
That was like Michelin. You know, in the United States, we used to have a book. It was called the Green Book. The Green Book was for African Americans who would travel across the country, and they were looking for good food, hotel stay, and things that were hospitable for them. This was like in the early 1950s and 60s.
Yeah.
So they used this to travel. If you were going from South Carolina to North Carolina, and your family needed a hotel or a restaurant to stay at, where are you going to stay? And you want to make sure you're safe and get friendly service. They used the Green Book, and that was how they used to travel and navigate. I think we need a modern day Green Book.
Yeah, we do.
You know,
I mean, sometimes because I drove up here through West Virginia and all that, and like you never know. So I looked it up, like racist areas. And there's maps that like will do it by color, sort of like so you know where not to go, where
it's
not
funny
to stop
it doesn't
for
really
gas.
Matter where you're at, because like even in DC, we've had so many racist, crazy things.
Oh, 100%.
Happen here.
Yeah.
My owner he's had like 5 crazy racial incidents to him and his wife this year. I had a woman try to threaten to call the cops on me because like I was trying to open the door to the restaurant, but I had like a bunch of stuff in my hands.
So she thought you were fucking.
She thought I was breaking into the
too?
restaurant.
What
and
the
I'm the fucking chef of the restaurant.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just crazy. Even when I went to Aspen, like I had crazy racial stuff happen to me. You know. So it really doesn't matter where you travel to. Sometimes. And that was like something I had talked to my mom about. My mom was like, you just have to have your wits about you because no matter what liberal city or wherever you go, racism is always going to happen. You need to learn how to interact with that and deal with it. You know,
I had a buddy of mine who now lives in Nashville, and he was telling me about how his awareness was raised once he went to Nashville. Because he's like, in California, everyone just lives together. And obviously there's still racism there, but he didn't see it. Right? And then, a lot of those folk are like, well, there's not really systemic racism isn't a thing. Because they don't see it, right?
They don't understand it.
Exactly.
The people who also say it, they tend not to be minorities. That's the other thing.
100%.
You know, you can't say there's no racism in this country when you assimilated very easily into this country.
Yeah.
You don't have to be successful in society, you don't have to take away bits and pieces of yourself. And I think you've probably known that, like, in this industry. Like, you can't be full blast sometimes. Because, like, especially, like,
because then you're that stereotype of, like, you're the angry brown guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, motherfucker, I'm just passionate. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, people don't understand that.
No,
it's funny, at Meadowood, when they had Puerto Rican tables, I always wanted to talk to my people because I'm like, there ain't no Puerto Ricans in Napa, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as they came in there, the volume of the fucking room just went up, you know? And it was just like, motherfuckers, we like to have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way it is.
That's our culture. That's
and some people, like, you see it sometimes. They're like,
why are they so loud?
Yeah. I was working at the personal chef job I took. The guy had a house in a golf course. And I'm like driving in, just went to the supermarket, and this lady was on her golf cart, and she's just like, just like could not take her eyes off me. And I'm like, like it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I am happy that some people that don't have that awareness or didn't are having it now. Yeah. Moving to different places after California, sucks.
I think it's great. I mean, and for me, it's like the past 4 years of my life, I'm like, I'm just to do me, and I don't really care. When I left Wolfgang Puck, I was like, I'm going to dye my dreads, I'm going to do whatever I want, I'm going to be me, you know? And I'm unabashedly going to be me and do me, because the way I look does not affect the food I cook. Exactly. That is a bullshit perpetuation that we tell people to try to get them to streamline themselves and be in a certain category. Yeah. Oh, to be successful, you have to be clean cut, you have to be this, you have to be that. That's bullshit. That's bullshit we tell people to try to control them, to have them confined to norms of society. How I look and what I do doesn't affect me,
Yeah, that's why hip hop is the biggest gift to our people, because it's like, these dudes, like Dame Dash, is talking down to CEOs and the fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they got this shit on film. Like, that shit doesn't happen a lot. And I remember that I had to have a conversation one time in a restaurant I was at, and they were like, hey, we because I'm I like to have fun. I like to make jokes. I like to be loud, you know. And it was like, hey, you know, if you want to be a leader here, you kind of got to, like,
tone it down
a bit, you know?
But that's to make other people feel comfortable.
Exactly.
You know, like, and again, it goes back to the conversation, like, sometimes you need to be uncomfortable a little bit, you know? If someone's personality, just because, like, how they're culturally raised scares you a little bit, or, like, you need to learn to be familiar with people, because not everyone is going to be like you. We're not assimilated. We're not robots. We're human beings. Yeah. You know? We come in a variety of forms and cultures. Yeah. You know? And sometimes that is part of people's culture, like you said. Like, Puerto Ricans, we're loud, we're boisterous. Yeah, yeah. But it's just like, it's because we are who we are. We want to have fun, you know? Yeah.
And, like, I fucking wouldn't have it any other way, man. Like, fucking, it's like some of the funnest I've ever had, you know? And I did learn that after leaving that restaurant, and I'm like, I need to be more myself, man. Yeah. Because that's, for me, I'm like, that's where the money is at.
And then you're happy, too.
You know? Yeah,
you're like, it's like, you don't feel like you're whitewashing yourself for anything. You know? You can be you. You can be you, cook the food you want to cook, and go home and be happy because you're not putting away pieces of yourself. You're giving your true, authentic self to the guests and the people, and if they get that, that's fantastic. You know, that helps out so much.
Fuck yeah. I have a question for you, talking about race and stuff. There was recently this thing that came out about reggaeton not being black music anymore, not being... what do you think about that? Because, like, it's hard for me to look at Bad Bunny. Obviously, he's white-skinned, but I have white-skinned cousins. Yeah. And, like, I don't look at them as white. Yeah. But I don't know what to think about this whole thing.
It's, for me, it makes me think about rock and roll, right? Yeah. Rock and roll tributes a lot of their music to Little Richard.
Right, yeah.
A black man, 100%. You know? And that's how it came from. And that's like all music. All music is derivative from some sort of other culture. Mm-hmm. And we build upon it. Reggaeton is one of them, you know? I think if you listen to, like, music from Calle 13, you know, it's the same thing. They're heavily influenced from, like, great hip-hop.
Shabba ranks, baby.
Yeah. And that's how all music is. And then when people throw stuff like that there, I think it's just to add, like, it's controversy and to take away from the bigger picture of things. Yeah. The bigger picture should be the expansion of whatever music and culture and food. Exactly. Anything else is just noise to bring diversity, like, not diversity, but like white noise to distract people from the bigger picture. Yeah. No, I can see that. Because I was like, well, I want to be proud of Bad Bunny. Like, I don't... Yeah, you should, like, I don't care that he's, like, got white skin. Like, it's always...
You know what I mean?
It's always this, like, culturalism thing. I think people don't throw into stuff. Is this rapper or whatever? Yeah. This person's light skin. You know, and there was always colorism is always a huge thing in Latin communities, too. It really is, you know? Because...
you know, you deal with that as a light-skinned Puerto Rican. You deal with that all the time. Because, you know, I was joking with Bobby. I was like, I listen back to this shit, and sometimes I'm like, man, I sound like a white guy. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. But then at the end of the day, it's like, who the fuck cares? No one. You know?
Exactly. It doesn't take away from what's in your DNA.
Exactly. You know? And that's another thing, too. I had a guy at the ranch, and he goes, well, technically, like... half your island is from Spain, and they're oppressors, so you're really oppressors. And I'm like, whoa.
That's, you know what I mean? That's like, drawing. That's a huge straw.
It was like, it was like, I got super offended by it, but I am happy that I can keep my composure nowadays. Yeah. And, you know, and then that's when I started telling him about, you know, what's going on and how society and how I'm perceived certain times. And he's like, yeah, but, you know, why?
That doesn't make you an oppressor. Like, it's such a ludicrous notion to tell somebody.
Dude, it was horrible, and I was like, you know, I talked to him for a few days.
You can't control it. You know, like my great-grandmother was from Spain. Yeah. You know? I don't consider myself a Spaniard. I never tell people that. Yeah, because you only know your life. You only know your parents' life and your grandparents' life. We still have in our family, you know, Taino blood and stuff. So it's it's just like every culture. There is no such thing. It's like that Aryan society mentality. It's like, pure white. That doesn't exist. Yeah. You know, you need to go take a DNA test because a lot of people, when they take it, they find out, like, if they're, I'm 100% white. No, you might have some blood in you from Africa. Yeah. You know, that's the cradle of life.
Yeah, fuck yes. 100%. Man, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. This was fucking awesome.
My pleasure.
I can't wait to put it out. This will be out in like 3-4 weeks. I hope to be able to talk to you again. I hope to be able to talk to all the people that we talked about and get their message out there and fucking take this shit on the road.
Anytime.
Whoa! Sucio Talk, signing off.